Trump, 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 Trump. His name is his power.
Do whatever you have to do. You say whatever you have to say. Winning is everything.
I am officially running for President of the United States.
In the unforgiving arena of American business, where fortunes are made and lost with breathtaking speed, one name has become synonymous with both spectacular success and devastating failure. Our 45th and now 47th President of the United States, we all know who I'm talking about, Donald Trump. Behind the golden facades and towering skyscrapers lies a story so extraordinary, it challenges our very understanding of success, failure, and the indomitable human spirit. This is Comeback Kings. I'm your host, Neil Thacker, founder and CEO of NeuraPure, as well as Director of Sales of Liberty Aid Insurance, and most importantly, an avid student of human performance and transformation, and I am here with Comeback Kings. In this episode, we're talking about Donald Trump, one of the most controversial figures in human history. So with that, let's tune in. To understand the magnitude of Donald Trump's comeback, we must first journey back to the beginning. Our story starts not in the glittering towers of Manhattan, but in the immigrant neighborhoods of Queens, New York. The year is 1946. As America emerges victorious from World War II, a child is born who will one day embody the nation's highest aspirations, as well as the nation's deepest contradictions. Donald John Trump enters the world on June 14th, 1946, the fourth of 5 children born to Fred and Mary Trump. Fred Trump, Donald's father, had built a fortune developing low-cost housing in Brooklyn and Queens. The senior Trump's empire of middle-class apartments would lay the foundation for his son's ambitions. But for young Donald, the outer boroughs were just the beginning. His eyes were set on a bigger prize, Manhattan. Donald Trump's ambition grows alongside the city that he calls home. After graduating from the prestigious Wharton School of Business in 1968, he joins his father's company, Elizabeth Trump and Son. The young Trump spends his days learning the intricacies of real estate development, but his nights are spent in Manhattan's exclusive clubs, rubbing shoulders with the city's elite. Trump's first major deal comes in 1974, when he options the bankrupt Commodore Hotel near Grand Central Terminal. Trump secures the unprecedented 40-year tax abatements from the city and transforms the aging Commodore into the gleaming Grand Hyatt Hotel.
Donald is the kind of person that says, does not take no for an answer, and I think that gets him a lot of yes answers. He's relentless and he's vigilant, and sometimes things go wrong, but most of the time things go right. And it's a very good attitude to have, good to be working for somebody like that, who does not stop at all. It's go, go, go.
About 5 years ago, New York was not considered very hot, and cities in general weren't considered too hot. And we purchased the old Commodore Hotel, and we've reconverted that now into about $110 million Grand Hyatt Hotel, which is opening up next week in New York City. And we've made some other purchases that have been fine.
So you see, at a relatively early age, 28, Donald Trump makes a big move. And this is the thing. You can see signs of success at an early age. And so people will look at the young Donald Trump and say, wow, at 28 years old, he makes a mid-8-figure move. And yes, when you're playing with numbers that large, it is audacious, it is bold. And this is the thing. It's not about the numbers or the size of the deal, but it's about the size of your heart and how bold you're willing to be. Look, when it comes to success, you need to be willing to risk it all. You need to be willing to take calculated risks, knowing that if things go completely south, you may be in some deep shit, and that's okay, because you not only trust yourself to make the right judgment call on these big risks, but you also trust yourself. Pull yourself out if things go wrong. Donald Trump, from a young age, had a bold mentality where he would bet on himself. And you see this pattern time and time again. And many times it pans out. Many times it doesn't. But the thing about Donald Trump, whether it was young Donald or the president that we have today, he always bet on himself. And if things didn't go right, he'd pull himself out. Now, throughout the 1980s, Trump's star rises meteorically. He develops Trump Tower, renovates the Woolman Rink, and purchases the Plaza Hotel.
This is the greatest skyline in the world, so this is a great addition to New York skyline.
The completion of the tallest concrete building.
By the end of the decade, Donald Trump is more than a real estate mogul. He's a symbol of 1980s excess and ambition. But Trump's ambitions extend beyond Manhattan. In 1984, he enters the casino business in Atlantic City. Trump quickly expands his Atlantic City holdings, acquiring the Trump Castle and the Trump Taj Mahal. You see, the thing about successful people like Donald Trump is they make fucking moves. They move quickly, they move boldly, and they make moves. The thing about money is that it loves speed. The thing about success is that it loves speed. Fear and hesitation will stifle success. Speed, aspiration, ambition, and boldness will bolster success. And this is what Donald Trump did. He just made move after move after move. He had his first big win with the Grand Hyatt Hotel, and he just made move after move after move. And here we find him in 1984, getting into the casino business. So, as the 1980s draw to a close, Donald Trump stands atop an empire that seems unassailable.
Sometimes the people will touch you just for the good luck.
It's a strange phenomenon that's been taking place.
But beneath the glittering facade, cracks start to form. What happens during this period is that the American economy begins to sputter. The stock market crash of 1987 sends shockwaves through the financial world.
They're calling it the Monday Massacre, the worst drop in Wall Street history.
I just came from inside and it looks like a madhouse.
It's so crazy. Nobody even expected it to be down this much.
The late 80s and the early 90s were a period of significant economic turbulence. Many highly leveraged businesses found themselves in trouble. For Trump, whose empire is built on a mountain of debt, these economic tremors are the first rumblings of an impending avalanche. The Trump Taj Mahal opened in 1990 at a cost of $1.1 billion, is supposed to be the jewel in Trump's casino crown. But instead, it becomes an albatross across his neck. Yeah, this was a tough time for him. As you'll start to see, these casinos start to crumble down, which we'll talk about. But what's really interesting, I'd like to point out again, is the fact that Donald Trump got himself into debt, got himself into more debt because he believed in what he was building. And sometimes things go south. By 1991, the situation is dire. The Trump Taj Mahal files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Then, in 1992, the Trump Plaza Hotel follows suit, filing for bankruptcy again. The dominoes continue to fall. Trump's casino holdings and airline all file for bankruptcy in quick succession between the years of 1990 and 1992. Now, real quick, before we continue the story, I want to take a moment to offer an amazing opportunity to anybody watching this. I'm a partner in a health insurance company. I'm looking for hungry, entrepreneurially minded individuals who want to grow, who want to be successful, who want to make their own schedule, who want to learn sales, who want to be around a great group of people to be on my team. So click the link below. In addition, I want to talk about a product I take every day. It's called NeuraPure Zen. This supplement is a mix of all natural herbs and nootropics, which I formulated. I've been in the industry for 7 years, and I want you to try it. It helps me focus, it helps me stay calm, reduces my anxiety, and as a high achiever, it is the edge that I need. Go to www.neurapure.com, go get yourself a bottle of NeuraPure Zen, and of course, use the code COMEBACK25 for 25% off. You won't regret it. The link is in the description. All right, let's continue talking about the Donald. So clearly this is a tough time for Donald Trump. And behind closed doors, Trump is engaged in a high-stakes battle for survival. In Atlantic City, Trump's casino started as glittering mountains to overreach. And the media, which once celebrated Trump's every move, now revels in his downfall. By 1995, the full extent of Trump's fall becomes clear. His net worth, once estimated in the billions, has completely evaporated. It went from 1.6 billion to under 500 million. And it was probably way less than that. He was in a lot of debt, a lot of trouble. As dust settles on the ruins of his empire, Donald Trump faces a choice: admit defeat or attempt the comeback of a lifetime. Instead of walking away from his debts, Trump ferociously negotiates with his creditors. And what you'll see is he believes he's larger than life, and he is fearless when he goes into these negotiations. These aren't light negotiations. These are serious legal battles serious legal challenges with some of the smartest, shrewdest, and most predatory financiers on Wall Street. And he walks right into these negotiations and says, fuck this, I'm the man, I'm negotiating, you're giving me a deal, otherwise you're not getting any of your money back, so fuck you. And this ferocious mentality where he thinks he's better than them, this ferocious mentality where he thinks that he deserves the success that he has and he's gonna negotiate his way out, well, this is what makes him as impeccable and remarkable of a human being and a comeback king that there is. Throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s, Trump maintains a high public profile through media appearances.
There's no reason to expose yourself to millions of people. But
you know why you do it?
Why?
You love the publicity.
Oh, I hate the publicity.
Oh, come on, get out of here.
I'm telling you, I hate the publicity.
Oh, please.
After going through a Chapter 11 bankruptcy 4 times, which is a business bankruptcy, most people would crumble. Most people would hang their head in shame. Most people would feel so terrible about the failures that they had. Trump didn't give a fuck. In fact, he focused on branding himself.
If you lost your fortune today, what would you do tomorrow?
Maybe I'd run for president.
Becoming a brand, maintaining a high public profile, and putting his name out there. And this is where his net worth really started to skyrocket again. In 2007, for example, Trump participates in WWE's WrestleMania 23, cementing his pop culture status. But it's television that provides the true turning point in Donald Trump's comeback story. In 2004, The Apprentice debuts on NBC.
You're fired.
Riding the wave of his renewed popularity, Trump aggressively expands his brand. The Trump Organization expands globally, with properties and licensing deals around the world. But for Donald Trump, even this extraordinary comeback isn't enough. His ambitions reach beyond the world of business and entertainment to the highest office in the land. In fact, on June 16, 2015, Trump announced his candidacy for the president of the United States.
I am officially running for president of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Crazy. So despite filing bankruptcy 6 times, 1991, 1992, 1992, 1992, 2004, 2009, he is not afraid to show his face. In fact, he built his entire comeback on his brand. He goes on WrestleMania, he stars in The Apprentice, he buys properties, he makes a business comeback, he makes real estate comebacks, he's a media icon, and still, this is not enough for him. He wants to make a real change. And so he decides to run for presidency, which goes to show the voracious appetite of the most successful people. This man can't be stopped. He is tireless, he is relentless, and he is an absolute apex predator. So with that being said, in 2016, on November 8th, against all odds, Donald Trump is indeed elected the 45th president of the United States.
God bless America.
When Donald J. Trump first stepped into the Oval Office, the world braced itself for the presidency like no other. A businessman turned commander-in-chief, Trump didn't just shake up the establishment, he took it by fucking storm. From the first executive order to the final days of his term, his time as the 45th president was a relentless battle. His presidency was a lightning rod. For some, it was a long overdue surge of honesty and strength. For others, it was chaos. But love him or hate him, you couldn't look away. Trump didn't come to the White House to play by the rules. He came to rewrite them, and in doing so, he unleashed a wave of energy that this country hadn't seen in decades. He made history, time and time again. North Korea, Israel, the roaring American economy. It was a presidency built on wins, on pushing the boundary of what a leader could do, but also filled with problems. But he didn't just manage problems, he took them head on, making decisions that the political world hadn't dared dream about. But for every bold move, every victory, there was backlash, critics, accusations, and of course, relentless opposition. 2 impeachments, endless investigations, a media determined to rip him down, take him down, and destroy everything that he had. It was a presidency unlike any other, a polarizing, perpetual storm. And for every victory, there was a new enemy, a new trial, a new defeat. The mainstream painted him as this mega villain, while millions saw him as the only man standing between them and the forces trying to rip their beloved America apart. In the quiet hours, in the moments no one saw, there was a man carrying the weight of it all. The decisions, the pressure, the constant attacks. While most presidents faced opposition, none had endured the storm that followed him day and night. Yet, Trump thrived in it. This wasn't just his duty, this was his battle. He turned every attack into fuel, every doubt into drive. And though the world was divided on him, Trump's supporters were unshakable. He'd become more than a president. He was a movement and a symbol of relentless ambition, of standing tall, even when the world wanted you to fall. His term was a high-stakes roller coaster, a presidency marked by peaks of triumph and valleys of fury. And as the dust settled on the first term, Trump didn't just walk away. He stepped back, he took a breath, and of course, contrary to what most people would have done, which is hang it up, he did enough in his life. Nope. He prepared for the next chapter. Because this battle wasn't over, not by a long shot.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
The story was not over. Donald Trump, a name that has already shaped decades of American highlights, wasn't finished making history. And against all odds, as we all know, he claimed the White House once again in 2024, turning what many thought was a distant dream into a staggering reality. It was a victory that few thought possible. After years of relentless political opposition and legal battles, Trump didn't just survive, he thrived. In the face of scrutiny and seemingly endless challenges, his return to power was both a validation and a vindication. The road to 2024 was paved with both triumphs and tribulations. Despite facing indictments, trials, and the ceaseless scrutiny of the media, Trump rallied with his base with a message that struck a nerve. For millions, his struggles weren't setbacks. They were proof of his resilience and his unwillingness to bend. Donald Trump has always been a man of reinvention. From turning a real estate empire, to it collapsing, to him rebuilding it, to a media phenomenon, to his first term in the White House, to his second term in the White House, Trump's life has been defined by a relentless drive and ability to transform adversity into opportunity. Trump's 2024 campaign ignited passions across the country, reaching supporters in small towns and big cities alike. For them, Trump wasn't just a former president. He was a symbol of a movement that refused to fade. And as he stood on that stage once more, with millions around the world watching, his message was clear. America's comeback had only just begun. Trump's path back to the White House was one of relentless resilience. With each primary victory, each rally, each new headline, each podcast, he reminded the world that his story was far from over. His critics saw his return as improbable. His supporters saw it as inevitable. Now, as he prepares to take the oath for a second time, Trump is more than just a president. He's a symbol of persistence, a reminder of what it means to believe in something bigger than yourself. For Trump and his supporters, the journey wasn't just about winning an election. It was about defying expectations, challenging the status quo, and proving that in America, the only true limits are the ones that you accept. And so with history watching, Donald Trump stands ready to lead once more, a true pinnacle of a comeback king. Until next time, I'm Neil Thacker, and this is Comeback Kings. Never, ever, ever give up.